What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a chat about, well, Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, that new card, the new leader from OP-09, which I told you looked like it could be good, and I'm tracking the results out of Japan, and look, I'm not saying this is the best deck in the format right now. I don't think it is. But it's probably Shanks, let's be honest with you. Shanks, there's a lot of different decks winning right now. There's a bunch of decks winning all over. But the one I'm seeing pop up most often is Shanks. Shanks seems like the best deck in the format. But Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, I'm seeing a bunch of winning decks pop up from that one. Remember, where we are at the moment in Japan, they haven't got giant tournaments going on right now, but they've got a bunch of store qualifiers, etc. So we're getting quite a lot of data from medium-sized tournaments. Shanks is legit, probably the best deck in the format, though it's not so cut and dry. There are a lot of good decks around. But Blackbeard is popping up, and I'm seeing this pop up on my timeline over and over again. It is winning a bunch of them. And there are different ways to play it, but one of my favourite ways is to play it pretty much tribal, going full Blackbeard Pirates. That's a list we're going to look at today. Although, like I've said, there are other lists around which are a little less tribal. Now, in terms of the leader, what we've got here is one with just a redonkulous amount of potential. We've got a mono black leader, so 5,000 power, 5 life, all standard. Your on-play skills don't activate. Clearly, turning off your own on-play skills, not necessarily ideal, but we've also got a skill here. And the skill says, activate main, you may trash a card from your hand, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent's on-play skills don't activate. So nobody gets any on-play skills, but the big difference is you've built your deck without on-play skills, your opponent hasn't. Yeah, that sounds like an awful lot of fun to me. So what are we playing this with then? Well, we've got a couple of one costs coming in here, and one of the one costs that we've got coming in here is Lafitte. One cost, 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000, lots of ones going on. And activate main, rest one of your Don and this character. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a Blackbeard Pirate, add it to your hand, put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. Good news is it's an activate main, so it can be used every turn. Yay! Bad news is you do have to pay a Don in addition to having paid for the character, which is obviously not perfect, but don't get me wrong, it's your Blackbeard Pirate Searcher. Obviously, you're going to have to play your Blackbeard Pirate Searcher. But if you want something a bit stronger, how about Stronger? One cost 0 power, but you do get counter plus 2k, which is quite nice. And we got an activate main, trash a card from your hand and this character. If your leader is Blackbeard Pirates, draw a card and give one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. So you get to draw a card, you get to lower cost. That's if it hits the board. There's a decent chance it ends up as a counter plus 2k. Either way, you're kind of winning with this. No matter how this works, you're getting value from it, and that's a good thing. Moving on to 2 costs, we've got Vasco Shot, and this one's nice and easy. 2 cost, 2,000 power, counter plus 1,000, blocker. But it's Blackbeard Pirate, so it can be searched out with Lafitte, etc. And you've got blocker, and it's not a good blocker. You've got 2k, you're probably going to block and go straight down, that's fine. But you do at least have blocker, so you got a blocker, and that sounds good to me. Blackbeard Pirates, blocker, job's a good un. We've also got ourselves another Stronger card, though here we're riding Stronger, it's not actually just Stronger by itself. We've got ourselves Doc Q. 2 cost, but still no power, counter plus 1,000, activate main, rest this character. If your leader is Blackbeard Pirates, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. And on KO, draw a card. So both this and Stronger give you a tiny bit of draw power, and Stronger can lower your opponent's cost. This can then let you KO a 1 cost or less. And yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Nice little pair of cheap cards getting you a whole bunch of value here. Moving up into 3 cost, we've only got the one. It's Shiryu. 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 2,000. So we got more counter here. This is a good thing. And what we've got here is Don X1, when attacking, trash 2, draw 2. Nice. Really nice. Now, important to note that it's trash 2 and then draw 2. And the reason that's important, firstly, you have to trash 2. It's in bold before the colon. If you don't trash 2, you can't draw. But also, it's better generally to draw and then trash, because you may wish to trash the cards you've drawn. Here, you have to trash and then draw. It's less good. And you'll notice, obviously, none of these are on play skills. I said Lafitte is an activate main. Well, the reason for that is it can't be an on-play skill, because if it was an on-play skill, it would be turned off by Blackbeard Pirates. And who would play a Blackbeard Pirates with an on-play searching skill? That would be absurd. No, ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to work. Moving up with the curve here, we've got ourselves a rather big boy. We've got ourselves Jesus Burgess. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. Cannot be KO'd by effects. And if your leader is Blackbeard Pirates, plus 1,000 power for every 4 cards in your trash. So you're getting more and more powerful here. But you can be KO'd by effects. Your opponent's got to actually attack you to take you out. Oh, and as you're building up the trash, this gets more powerful. And I've already shown you stronger. Trashes cards from your hand. Blackbeard, trashes cards from your hand. Shiryu, trashes cards from your hand. You're building up your trash, powering this up. This is good. And then we've got the only non-Blackbeard pirate in this build of the deck. Although, like I've said, there are other builds that play a few more. We've got Laboon, and obviously I'm showing you the so-so artwork here. This might be my favourite artwork in all of the One Piece TCG. It is definitely up there. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And activate main, rest this character to give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost during this turn. Well, the 5k is a minimum you need to really be attacking into leaders, which is nice. But honestly, -4 cost on Laboon is clearly a good thing. So, yeah. You can see why Laboon makes the cut here. We then got ourselves a couple more Blackbeard Pirates. We've got Van Olga. 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. Activate main, rest this character. If your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates type, one of your opponent's characters gets -3 cost for the turn. And on KO, you draw a card. One of the things I like about this deck, combine this with Doc Q, we got a cheeky amount of draw here. Also, notice how Doc Q carries a character of a cost of 1 or less, and we've got some characters here like Van Olga and Laboon, who quite aggressively lower cost here. That is going to get you some cheeky KOs, which I adore. And then we have one big character here. We've got ourselves the 10 cost Marshall D. Teach. And even here, I'm telling you, there are other lists and other ways to play the deck. Even these other lists tend to play a full 4 copies of Blackbeard. Basically, it's too good. It's too good a card not to be playing. So you know what? Yeah, we are most definitely going to be playing it. Because what we've got here, firstly, we've just got a 12k body, which is good. Secondly, we got a 12k blocker, which is brilliant. And activate main once per turn. If your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates type and this character was played this turn, negate the effects of one of your opponent's leaders during this turn, and then one of your opponent's characters until the end of their next turn, and stop them attacking. Basically, you turn one of their characters off for a turn. They can neither attack nor use any skills, and you turn off their leader skills. Yeah, it's a phenomenal, and it's basically an on-play skill. It is an on-play skill because it only works the turn you play it. The difference here is, because it's technically an activate main but only on the turn you play it, it's not an on-play skill and doesn't get turned off by your leader. So you get that phenomenal skill for one turn, but even after that turn is over, you've still got a 12k blocker on the board that is both a brilliant attacker and a brilliant blocker. Either way, this sounds pretty gosh darn nice. I am a big fan of this card. This and the leader combined, you're going to get to the late game and your opponent's going to have no on-play skills, no skills on their best character, and no leader skills. And if you can chain this for a couple of turns And we've got a Searcher here, which is an activate main. It can do it every turn. We've got a bit of draw in this deck. You should be able to find a couple of these during the game, and that is going to make a huge difference when we get to the late game. Now, another thing I really like about this deck, we actually have a stage. Not a lot of decks always play stages. This one does. It's got Honeycomb. And it's very important to bring this up now because it backs up the point I just made. Activate main. Trash a card from your hand, rest this stage, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, find a Blackbeard Pirate and put it into your hand. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And even though you can only have one stage down and stage removal in this game is borderline non-existent, you're still playing 4 of these. Because it is such a ridiculously good stage. And then, of course, if you combine this stage with things like Lafitte and the activate main skill, plus then all of your draw. Yeah, that's what I mean about you will hit these martially teach. You play 4 of them and you should be able to actually get them rolling. It is awesome. In terms of event cards here, we've got the Blackbeard card with Blackbeard's face on, as you might expect, because, you know, it's a Blackbeard deck. This is my time. 1 cost. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, find a Blackbeard Pirates other than this is my time, add it to your hand, put the rest into your trash. You know the deal, does the same thing incidentally as a trigger. When I said this deck is going to be consistent and get you that Blackbeard, I meant it, ladies and gentlemen. You've got a stage and a character with an every turn skill and an event card now. You see where we're going with this. Again, played as a full 4 copies. We've also got ourselves a new card here, Liberation, which is a Blackbeard Pirates card. 4 cost event. If your leader has Blackbeard Pirates, nullify the effects of one of your opponent's character during this turn, and then if its cost is 4 or less, KO it. As a trigger, you just negate the effects of an opponent's leader or character during this turn. Basically, it lets you either turn off their skills, which is what Blackbeard does, or KO a 4 cost or less, but I've shown you how aggressively we can be lowering cost here, so however you play this is good for me. And then the only other Blackbeard Pirate card other than Laboon here is Finger Pistol. 4 cost event, trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, KO a character with a cost of 5 or less, does the same thing as a trigger. But as we've seen, building up your trash, good. KOing good, especially with all of the cost reduction we've got. I like this deck. Whether it's for me or not is another question. This was tweeted out by CK Mizanakuchi, and it seems like a very, very, very nice list indeed. There are some other lists I've found. Here's a second list to have a little bit of a look at here. Very similar kind of list. There's a couple tiny differences. You're only playing 3 of the stage rather than 4. You're only playing 2 of the blocker. But you'll notice there, you know, there's 1 new event card, but the characters are all the same. And yes, that does include a full 4 copies of Laboon. And I think I've made pretty clear at this point, if you're going to give me a deck that plays 4 copies of Laboon, I'm going to like it a little bit more. So there we go. That's what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. Blackbeard is legit, but now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this deck. Tell me if you're taking it seriously in OP-09 or whether you think you can beat it easily enough with your preferred deck. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.